Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I am going to present a new topic which is research methodology. So let's start our video. At first we share my screen. Today I am going to present the nature, source and types of data. So this is my first slide. Now we get the introduction part. Here we see now this is my our introduction part. So let's start. Here we see data is essential for meaningful research. Okay, it is very important to find that data is very essential for meaningful research used for situational assessment, theory development, and policy evaluation. Avai- a- Availability of data determines scope and depth of analysis, which is the most important part of our research. Researchers must clearly mention data sources, definitions, and collection method. Our main type of data in research. There are three main time series data, cross-sectional data, and poll data. And the additional form is panel data. Okay, now our time series data. Observations recorded over time at regular intervals. Order to observations is important. For example, we see the stock price, weather data, and sales figures. Okay, this is includes trend, seasonality, and cyclic variation, random noise. The time series analysis model comes with common techniques, which is visualization, smoothing, decomposition, statistical method, and econometric tools. We are used for ARIMA models, moving average, forecasting technique. Now the cross-sectional data collection at point in time, cross-sectional data and capture information across individuals, firms, or countries. For example, GDP per capita income comparison between countries, smoking rates among the age group, student test score across school, and often analyzed using cross-sectional regression. Okay, now old data, combination of data with different sources or studies, increasing sample size and reliability, used in meta-analysis and systematic reviews, a statistical method, fixed affected method, and random affected method. With the panel data collected from the same object over multiple time periods, combines cross-sectional and time series data. The types of data, panel data, and micropanel data helps control observe heterogeneity. The sources of data, the very important part is sources of data. To maintain sources, one is primary data and other is secondary data. Source identification improves reliability, validity, and relevance of research. What's about the primary data? First-handed data collected directly by researcher, collected for a specific research purpose. What is the method? The method for surveys, interviews, observation, experiments, and more accurate but time consuming and costly. How we find secondary data? Data already collected by other institution or researchers. Example, now we see the data example. The types of data. It in economics, there are two major categories. One is qualitative data and one is quantitative data, which is categorical and numerical data. Okay, here we see the quantitative data. Describe characteristics and categories, types, nominal data, no specific order like industry types, regions. This is called nominal data. On the other hand, we see ordinal data, ordered categories. The example is income levels, development states, and now we see the quantitative data, data like numerical data, allowing mathematical analysis, which is called quantitative data. When we see the types, it is discrete data, continuable members like numbers of banks. This is called discrete data. On the other hand, it is continuous data that that is measurable values. The example is GDP growth, inflation, income, and widely used in the econometric modeling. Quantitative data is widely used in econometric modeling. Yes, we see the conclusion. Data is fundamental for economic research, and correct classification improve analysis, which is very important to our research facilities. Correct classification. This type of classification improve analysis, and reliable data source. It is very important for our research methodology, that is reliable data source. Strain research findings, and the last one is both quantitative and qualitative data support economic policy analysis. This is very important for economic policy analysis. If a researcher research for a specific value for himself or country or his region, that is the final goals for the researcher is economic policy analysis. So this is all for me, and my my presentation from the nature sources and types of startup for research methodology, which I hope you are all enjoying this presentation. And I think there is some mistake from my speaking. Uh, Sorry for all. And that's it for me. So goodbye. See you in the next.